What's up, YouTube? This is the Serial Thriller Broadcast, and today I'm going to be talking about Nightcrawler. But not that Nightcrawler, this Nightcrawler. Silly YouTube. Nightcrawler is directed by Dan Gilroy and stars Jake Gyllenhaal. This movie tells the story of Louis Bloom, who is a opportunistic, manipulative, and morally questionable character who Jake Gyllenhaal plays. Now, Louis is looking for a job, and he is good at a lot of things, but, like I said, he's morally questionable, and he has a hard time kind of connecting with people, so it's kind of tough for him. Even though he's self-taught, he learns pretty much everything he knows from the internet, he's graduated high school, but that being said, he hasn't really found his passion. One night, however, he sees these people filming somebody getting pulled out of a burning car wreck by these two cops. And all of a sudden he thinks, I want to do that. I want to be the person behind the camera filming these things happening. It sort of appeals to his darker side. This movie was really good. Jake Gyllenhaal was excellent in the main role, and he definitely deserved an Oscar nomination, even though he didn't get one. When I was seeing another movie in theaters before I'd seen Nightcrawler, and actually before it was released, I caught a glimpse of an interview with Gyllenhaal in the pre-show. And Jake Gyllenhaal basically talks about how he wanted the character to appear like a coyote, sort of living on the outskirts of LA and only sort of migrating in when it's dark so that he can sort of scavenge what he can. The coyote theme was actually taken so seriously throughout the movie that it was actually considered as a title before Nightcrawler. There's a couple points in the movie where you can actually see Gyllenhaal, and it really looks like he's imitating a coyote. He's, standing out on the highway and a plane flies overhead and you see this sort of skittish animal look come into his eyes, and he actually blinks very rarely throughout the movie. At the same time, he's also very intimidating when he's given the upper hand and when he's sort of in control of the situations. Now, as the film progresses, you kind of get the sense that he's willing to do almost anything to further his new career. And that means putting himself in the situations where, he's doing these things that most people in the business kind of wouldn't do. He's going a lot further. He'll do things like moving dead bodies into better lighting so he can get better shots and things like that. And it starts to get pretty questionable as the movie goes on. And it's also a bit of a commentary on the media today and, the way that the media shows us not necessarily what's always news, but more so what people want to see. One thing I didn't overly care for in this movie, and there was very few things, was the relationship that Louis Bloom sort of develops with his news executive co-worker. Not a lot of it's shown on screen, which is understandable because Rene Russo, who plays the executive, is actually married to the director Dan Gilroy. But I think it was primarily a character study on Gyllenhaal. Really, I don't feel like it was needed or necessary at all, but at the same time, when it wasn't really concluded and sort of took a back seat to the rest of it, I found it a little bit distracting. There was one part near the start that I found kind of funny, and it kind of connected with me personally, because I work at a scrapyard, and in the first scene, he's coming into a scrapyard and he's got all this stolen scrap metal, and it was just hilarious for me. But, if you don't work at a scrapyard, you might not get that. So, in conclusion, I bought it. I really like it. I'm not saying it's something I'd watch all the time, but maybe once a year I'd throw this in just because it's worth it. The character that Jake Gyllenhaal plays in this is just fantastic to watch, and that would be enough on its own, but it's also a great story that they throw in with it. And there's also action. This movie has got it all, and I think it's definitely worth picking up or checking out if you haven't seen it. This has been the Serial Thriller Broadcast, and if you feel thrilled, chilled, and fulfilled, hit the subscribe button and let me know what you thought in the comments below.